represents one of the worst air qualities ever recorded. The images are startling, even apocalyptic.
They say being outside is like smoking 3 to 11 cigarettes a day. Wow.
The more pollutants in the air, the worse quality air people are up against.
You could not see anything behind this reporter this morning. The air quality in New York City today was the worst in the entire world. Even worse than Delhi, the Indian city which is known for its noxious air. And in Times Square, tourists were shocked by the smoke. 100 million people here in the U.S. across 13 states are impacted, all due to the wildfires that have erupted in Canada.
Climate change. It's real, it's serious, and it's up to us to solve it.
We are faced, I think, with the most challenging geopolitical and geoeconomic situation for decades. We have a weak recovery that easily can turn into a recession. We have not that much movement on the green transition as we have hoped, and we are not out of the woods when it comes to COVID, the pandemic.
It's not some science fantasy effect from 2001. This electronic display emanating from Australia's largest computer is a picture of the condition, past, present and future of planet Earth. The program was originally devised by a scientist working from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Jay Forrester. It was developed under the auspices of the Club of Rome by an MIT research team to present a complex model of the world and what we humans are doing to it. The program, called World 1, doesn't pretend to be a precise forecast. What it does for the first time in man's history on the planet is to look at the world as one system. It shows that Earth cannot sustain present population and industrial growth for much more than a few decades. It shows that simply cleaning up our car exhausts and making some small effort to limit our families simply isn't enough. It's like an electronic guided tour of our global behaviour since 1900 and where that behaviour will lead us. Well, this is the printed version of what we've just seen on the television screen. And what looks at first to be just a maze of computer characteristics is really a system of very simple graphs which project what's going to happen to the planet over the next 150 years if we don't do something drastic to stop it. Down the left-hand side of the graph is the date, 1900, 1940, 1980, 2020, right down to 2060. Now, each of these lines of letters represents a curve showing some aspect of the condition of the planet. The further out this way they go, the greater that figure is. The further this way, the less. For example, P represents population. So here it is at 1900, and then it comes up to 1940, it starts to take off. Here we are at 1980, up to the turn of the century, and then it starts to peter off. Let's now have a look at this next curve, the Q curve, which is the quality of life. And this is represented by, for example, the amount of space people have, the amount of money they have to spend, the amount of food they have to eat. Now, it increases rapidly up to 1940, but from 1940 on, the quality of life diminishes. And here we are about the turn of the century, and we come up to the year 2020, and it's really come right back. More people, of course, means that you start to chew up your supply of natural resources. And this is this curve here, the N curve. And it shows that slowly but steadily, the pool of natural wealth in the world, natural resources, minerals, oil and so on, is slowly but steadily diminishing. So this is the situation. As population increases, the quality of life decreases and the supply of natural resources decreases. But have a look at this curve here. This is called the Z curve, and it represents pollution. Now, predictably enough, as the population increases up to 1980, pollution increases. There's more rubbish. But from 1980 to the year 2020, pollution really takes off. This is assuming, of course, that we don't do anything about it. So the year 2020, the condition of the planet starts to become highly critical. And if we don't do anything about it, this is what's going to happen. The quality of life is going to go right back to practically zero. Pollution is going to become so serious, right out here, that it will start to kill people.
I think the strength of the World Economic Forum's annual meeting here in Davos is that we have business and governments and civil society together. I know that during this meeting there will be many companies announcing that they will go net zero when it comes to CO2 emissions by 2050. We'll also have a gathering of the largest companies in the world here committing to green their supply chain. So the Apple, Amazons of the world say, we will only buy products from you if you then reduce your CO2 footprint. I think this is very strong signals, and I think this is the strength of our annual meeting.
So many of us are here today is a recognition that the threat from climate change is serious, it is urgent, and it is growing.
It all sounds very green. The Environment Secretary Ed Davey has been urging other countries to get serious about tackling climate change.
Now, Sirius is the brightest star in the night sky, which means that it would be pretty easy to spot. And this also means that historically, it would have been also observed by the various cultures, and it would have its mentions in the ancient cultures. So we'll go to that, but let's find Sirius. Now, to find Sirius, you need to look at the belt of Orion and the 3-point stars downward. The Sirius is to the left. So to be more precise, in coordinate system, Sirius is right ascension 6 hours 45 minutes and 8.9 seconds, with declination about minus 16 degrees 42 minutes and 58 seconds.
What do you want me to say? That I knew we were poisoning people, but we didn't want to stop because we were making too much money? Is that what you want me to say?
Madam Curie, is radium a cure for all cancer?
Radium is a cure for all cancer.
Try as I might, I could not remember their faces. I never saw their faces.
Calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious
What's this? What's this?
What did I tell you? 88 miles per hour!
So radium was the element that was discovered by Madame Curie, and its chemistry is very similar to that of barium, except that it is radioactive.
So the year 2020, the condition of the planet starts to become highly critical, and if we don't do anything about it, this is what's going to happen. The quality of life is going to go right back to practically zero. Pollution is going to become so serious, right out here, that it will start to kill people. So the population will diminish.
So we've known for decades that the world is warming, but this report tells us that recent changes in the climate are widespread, rapid, and intensifying, unprecedented in thousands of years.
The International Association of Firefighters announced they are endorsing Joe Biden for president in 2020. The organization released a video Monday morning that lays out their reasons for throwing their support behind the former VP, saying that Biden knows a strong middle class means a strong America.
I'm going to vote blue. Vote for who you want. This is a free dictatorship.
The president was briefed on the wildfires in Canada last week and has been regularly updated since. He directed his team to provide impacted communities whatever support they need. Our team here at the White House is in touch with the government of Canada. We have already deployed over 600 U.S. firefighters and personnel, as well as equipment like water bombers to help Canada battle the fires. We encourage everyone in the impacted areas to listen to their state and local officials.
Several large wildfires burning out of control and just getting huge plumes of this smoke.
Look at this scene in New York, something like the surface of Mars. The best advice right now is to stay indoors. Many school districts have canceled field trips and all outdoor activities. If we look at the weather, it says air quality alert, 160, unhealthy. Should we even be outside right now?
Well, again, that unhealthy refers to the sensitive parts of the population. I think for most adults, healthy adults, we won't have much of an effect. So if you have an air conditioner, you shut the windows, use recycled air setting on your air conditioner, and that'll keep the inside as clean as possible.
It feels a little weird. My eyes are a little burning, my throat's a little sore. It feels kind of strange.
Yeah, and I have some health conditions, some respiratory, I have a mild asthma, and I also feel tightness.
Yeah.
And I've been just taking it easy.
And look what's making a comeback, masks.
Right back here, less than it was in the year 1900. And at this stage, around about the year 2040, 2050, civilized life as we know it on this planet will cease to exist. Well, hopefully, of course, it won't be allowed to happen. But it's taken this kind of shock treatment to nudge governments into doing something, and slowly we are. We're starting to clean up our atmosphere. We're starting to recycle our rubbish. We're doing something positive about population control. But so far, our efforts have really been just a drop in the ocean.
Good morning!
Morning, Truman!
Morning, Spencer!
Hey, Pluto. No. Get down. He won't hurt you.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious.
Dear next president, climate change is the most serious problem facing humankind.
We are here all together because we know that the world needs to fight climate change with much, much greater seriousness.
Madam Vice President, you're in charge of the environment for the Iranian government. That's your portfolio. How serious is your government when it comes to tackling climate change, taking serious measures?
Yes, our government is very serious because we adopted a low-carbon economy last year in the government, and we started working in that direction.
Earth's climate is now changing faster than at any point in the history of modern civilization, primarily as a result of human activities, and that climate change could kill thousands of Americans and cost the U.S. economy hundreds of billions of dollars. Pretty serious. And you seriously may have missed it because even though the report was supposed to come out in December, the Trump administration released it Friday.
You can see the chemtrails coming out of the engines here. Look at that. I'm dying to take a picture of that's cool. My neighbor, you got so chemtrail I'm doing the video. Chemtrail generators are on. And yeah, there it is. Look, you can see them. All right, that's awesome. It's working. Yeah.
We're Earth Shield. You might not know our name, but you've seen us flying in your skies almost every day. And what is our job? Protecting you. You see, the Earth is a dangerous place, and without Earthshield's patented barium formula protecting you, well, I wouldn't like to think of the consequences. You wouldn't send your kids out to play without a thorough coating of sunscreen. Well, just think of us as a gigantic tube of planetary SPF 60. You say, doesn't this cost the taxpayers millions, if not billions of dollars to continually spray our atmosphere? Well, of course it does. But we are committed to keeping your planet preserved and fresh.
Oh, golly, Esther! Both you boys need serious help. Spicy eyes!
We hear it so much that it feels like a buzzword, but it is far from it. Climate change is a real and serious issue. But isn't the climate always changing?
America's on the verge of technological breakthroughs that will enable us to live our lives less dependent on oil. And these technologies will help us be better stewards of the environment. And they will help us to confront the serious challenge of global climate change.
This is what artificial intelligence thinks New York City could look like by 2100 in the worst-case climate scenario. Midjourney, an AI tool, made photo predictions of what cities in the future could look like if nothing is done to mitigate the effects of climate change. For instance, this is Paris. And this is what Los Angeles could look like. Of course, these are hypothetical.
CD02 data intact. Initiating playback.
Elizabeth Sobek. You've heard the bad news, and it's all true. The Pharaoh plague is devouring the biosphere. Life itself will cease to exist. But does that have to be the end? What if we could give life a future? What if we could build a kind of seed from which, on a dead planet, life could blossom anew? This is the aim, the hope, of Project Zero Dawn. To create a super-intelligent, fully automated terraforming system and bring life back from lifelessness. What would such a system require? At its core, it would need a true AI, fully capable of making the trillions of decisions necessary to reconstitute the biosphere.
This is the world's most advanced processor. In entertainment, its rendering speeds render other processors obsolete. It drives the future of autonomous driving, powers cloud services for billions, helps change the course of climate change, connects communities of gamers anytime, anywhere, and uses AI to accelerate disease detection and cures. We make the world's most advanced processors, but only with your vision can we advance the world. AMD, together we advance.
An immortal guardian, devoted to the reflourishing of life. We call it Gaia. Mother Nature as an AI. But that's just the core of the system. She will need to be surrounded and empowered by a comprehensive suite of subordinate functions. Think of them as extensions of Gaia's mind, each dedicated to a specific purpose. Now, these aren't AIs, but make no mistake, Each presents an engineering challenge more profound than anything the human species has ever before attempted. Hardware that preserves and then gestates the billions of seeds and embryos from which life will be reborn. The construction of underground facilities to hold it all. And that's just the start. We don't have to build the entire system. The beauty of a fully automated terraforming system is that it can build itself. Now, over the days to come, you'll learn how all these functions, all these pieces that you'll be working on, fit together. How we'll race the clock to execute our harvest initiatives, write the software, build the tech and the facilities. How we'll lock it down and seal it up before the inevitable occurs. But even more important, you'll know how it doesn't end here. How Gaia will generate those deactivation codes General Harris talked about, and build the transmission arrays to broadcast them, shutting down the Pharaoh robots for good.
The Club of Rome comprises some 70 men of widely varying backgrounds, but their common concern is that the world problems cannot be solved by individual nations. I spoke with Professor Hugo Tiemann, director of the Battelle Institute Geneva, Dr. Aurelio Pache, founder of the club, and Dr. Alexander King, director of the World Bank and the United Nations OECD. Dr. King, now you're describing the world as a closed system where all these things are interrelated, and yet the government, the control of the system is by individual nation states. Now, how do you convince them to cooperate?
The sovereignty of these nations is no longer as absolute as it was. There's a gradual diminishing, whittling away of sovereignty, little bit by little bit. Especially, of course, in the smaller countries where it's more obvious. But the bigger countries have to do a good deal of this by agreeing to international arrangements for the law of the seas, or for the limits of fishing, or for control of the wavelengths in radio, and 101 other things. But especially in the technological field, I think this is going to be increasingly so because of developments next year. I was at an important meeting in Washington a couple of weeks ago, and Peterson, the former Secretary of Commerce, was saying the same thing from an economic point of view, that the general world economic situation, the interdependence of countries on their food and fuels and so on, is leading to an interdependence which has seeds of draining away of sovereignty within it.
How Gaia will not just build, but imagine any conceivable robot it needs to do its work across centuries. From detoxifying the Earth's ravaged atmosphere and poisoned seas, to the regreening of the Earth from cryo, to rewilding the Earth with animal life. And then, when all that is done, how a new generation of human beings, spawned at cradle facilities around the globe, will partake of Apollo, the vast archive of human knowledge and cultural achievement from which they will learn of us, our world. And most important, how not to repeat our mistakes. It's not an impossible dream. It is within our grasp if we work tirelessly and stop at nothing to achieve it. We can't stop life from ending. But if you will help me, help Gaia, we can give it a future. Join me and help make that future real.
I have the potential to imagine the unimaginable. Think the unthinkable. See the unseeable. With the arsenal of the world's leading technology at my fingertips, I now have the ability to invent the uninventable. Rebranding into its future, Intel has enlisted House of Gaga to collaborate on a project that will showcase technology through creativity at the highest level. Our partnership will culminate in a performance that inspires to remind the world of the seed of innovation, the wizard behind the curtain, the mind behind the machine. Intel.
This will be one of the most powerful computers on Earth. It's called Aurora, and it will soon start tackling some of humanity's most pressing issues. This computer at the Argonne National Lab in Illinois will help advanced fields ranging from neuroscience to cancer treatments to the very structure of our universe. Aurora will be one of the US's first exascale computers and one of the fastest in the world.
And in this Intel lab in Oregon is a smaller version of Aurora. Come with me behind this door and I'll show you. Say hello to Borealis.
Borealis is a test system that evaluates, stress tests, and debugs the technologies that will power the Aurora supercomputer. Aurora and Borealis are collaborations between Intel, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, and the U.S. Department of Energy.
This is called a blade. Each blade weighs about 70 pounds. All these blades together are what's called a server rack. You see a lot of these blades in data centers all over the world, but generally, they're not this powerful.
Borealis features 128 blades. Aurora will have more than 10,000 of them stacked inside the HPE Cray EX supercomputing platform. Each blade includes 2 Intel Xeon Max series processors with high bandwidth memory. The Xeon server chips are connected to 6 Intel Data Center Max series GPUs.
Intel engineers work daily with Argonne and HPE scientists and technicians.
They test hardware and software, work through technical issues, and ultimately speed up and ensure a successful deployment of Aurora.
Borealis is not just a test bed for the Aurora system. It's also used in early science.
The test system is helping researchers use trained AI models to identify the structures inside the brain, creating a 3D map known as a connectome from datasets too large for today's most powerful systems. It's also helping scientists conduct molecular modeling faster and identify solutions for quantum science and drug discovery.
When it's completed later this year, Aurora will be a lot bigger than Borealis. In fact, it'll be about the size of 2 basketball courts and weigh 600 tons. That's about the weight of 300 average-sized cars.
Intel's and HPE's technologies aim to deliver more than 2 exaflops of computing power. That means Aurora should be able to do more than 2 billion calculations per second. That's 2 followed by 18 zeros.
Stay tuned for more news about Aurora and Borealis in the coming months. Hope you enjoyed going behind the store with us. Thanks for watching. I'm Rob Kelton.
The whole Earth destroyed, but then remade?
Yes. By a machine. A machine of creation.
Elizabeth did this. For life, for us. But why Hades then? If it was part of Gaia, how did it end up in the wreckage of a pharaoh robot? And why does it want to kill me? And Apollo, the archive of knowledge, what happened to that?
I'm as confused as you are. Maybe the answers lie ahead.
If we turn against each other based on divisions of race or religion,
Come on, try getting it out.
Ding, 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 bong. That's all, folks.